This PowerPoint presentation covers the topic of subject and verb agreement, which is Chapter 10 of our Canadian Business English text, 5th edition. There is a variety of objectives for this particular PowerPoint presentation, including locating the subjects of verbs despite intervening elements and inverted sentence structure, making verbs agree with true subjects, making verbs agree with subjects joined by the word and, making verbs agree with subjects joined by the words or nor, and selecting the correct verbs to agree with collective nouns and indefinite pronouns. One of the topics that we've covered at length so far in this course is locating subjects in sentences. It's important when you are locating the subject of a sentence not to select the prepositional phrase. Some of the most common prepositions are of, to, in, from, for, with, at, or by, and some less easily recognized prepositions are except, but, like, and between. In general, prepositional phrases modify the concepts of space or time, but if you have a look at this particular list and you remember some of these most common prepositions, then you will be better off. Let's check your skill at finding subjects in sentences that contain prepositions. Prepositions can often be tricky little things when they're in the middle of the sentence. Take, for example, the following sentence. One of the computers needs debugging. The first thing you need to do is find the verb, because that always helps you select the subject. So the verb in this particular sentence is the word needs. But what would the subject of that verb be? Your mind may immediately try to pick out the word computers as the subject, but actually computers is the subject of the preposition of the computers. Remember, of is one of those words that indicates a prepositional phrase. The actual subject of the sentence is the word one. I told you they were tricky, didn't I? Let's have a look at another sentence. Letters from the President were sent recently. The verb in this sentence is were sent. What is the subject? The subject is the word letters. The prepositional phrase in this case is from the President. From is one of those words that you should remember that indicates a prepositional phrase is coming at you. Here's one more sentence as an example. Everyone except you and me is gone to the party. The verb in this sentence is. What is the subject? The subject of the sentence is everyone. Except you and me is a prepositional phrase. In addition to prepositions, you should watch out for intervening words. This is another idea that can cause you to pick out the wrong subject of the sentence, and then you will have problems with subject-verb agreement. Intervening words are groups of words such as in addition to, including, such as, together with, and as well as. You will never find the subject that belongs to the verb after intervening words such as these. Let's have a look at some sentences that have intervening words and see if we can select the subjects. In the first sentence here, John's firm, along with several other companies, is submitting bids. In this sentence, the verb is, and the subject is John's firm. The intervening words, along with, has a subject as well, which is companies. That subject belongs to that phrase with the intervening words, but not to the actual verb of the sentence, which is. Have a look at the second sentence as well. The buyer, as well as one of our managers, is examining the equipment. Is examining is the verb of this sentence, and the subject of the sentence is the buyer. The intervening words as well as introduces a subject as well, which is managers, And so if you selected managers to be the subject of the verb is, that would be incorrect. The subject is actually the buyer. So the key thing to do here is to look for those intervening words and to recognize that the subject that belongs with the intervening words is not the subject that belongs with the verb of the sentence. Something else to be careful when you're trying to select the subject for verbs is looking at sentences that begin with the words there or here. These words can never be the subject of a sentence. When you have a sentence that begins with there or here, the subject will actually always come after the verb of the sentence. It is easier if you rearrange the sentence to have the words here or there placed at the end of the sentence, as shown in the following examples. In the first sentence, there are 3 new applications today. We recognize the verb to be the word are. And as mentioned, the subject will come after the verb if the sentence starts with there. The subject of this sentence is actually applications. This is similar to our second example. Here is a list of discussion points. We know that here can never be the subject of the sentence. And the verb in this sentence is the word is. And so when we have a look at the subject, it will follow the verb. In this case, the subject of the sentence is the word list. You may find it helpful to rearrange the sentence so that the word here is at the end, as shown in this inverted order of the sentence. A list of discussion points is here. One final thing to look at when you're trying to select the subject of a sentence is to consider inverted sentences. And again, this is a topic that we've covered before. When you have an inverted sentence, you need to look for the subject after the verb. Consider the example, across the street is a print shop. You change that inverted sentence into normal order. A print shop is across the street. And it's easier to select the subject in this sentence. The verb is, and shop is the subject of the sentence. The second example shows a question. It can often be difficult to find the subject in questions. So if you change the question to a statement, it's easier to pick out the subject. Consider the question, is one of the accountants late? If you change it into a statement, one of the accountants is late, you can see that is the verb of the sentence and the word one is the subject. Note the preposition of the accountants. Don't select the accountants as the subject of the sentence. When you have 2 subjects that are joined by the word and they belong to the same verb, you must make sure you choose a plural verb. For example, in the sentence, our sales manager and our human resources director are interviewing the candidates, the subjects are managers and director. Because they are joined by the word and, we must be sure to choose a plural verb, in this case the verb are. The same thing for the second example. Writing concisely and proofreading carefully are important. The subjects, writing and proofreading, are joined by the word and the verb for this sentence needs to be plural. And in this case, we are choosing the plural verb are. Let's finish this presentation by looking at the words or and nor used in sentence to join subjects. When this happens, the verb should agree with the closer subject. In the first example, neither the store nor its contents were insured. There are 2 subjects joined by the word nor. The subjects are store and contents. Store is singular, contents is plural. The verb were also needs to be plural because the contents word subject contents is actually closer. If the subjects were reversed in the sentence and the sentence read, neither its contents nor the store was insured, the singular verb was would be used because the word store is singular and would be closer to the verb. The same thing for the second example. Either John or his partners are responsible for this. John is singular and partners is plural, so we need to use the plural verb are because partners is closer to the verb.